I have been on the table with Sandy Hounsell quite a few times as a client.
Healing table.
Healing table, that's correct. So, but what happens, I go there, I shut my eyes, Sandy does tell me what's going to go on, but really I don't listen much. So this tape would be a very good indication for you to give us, or everyone, an idea of what you do during one of your healing sessions.
Okay. Well, after the initial discussion with a person as to why they need some help, and sometimes people just don't know what's wrong, they just know they want to feel better about themselves. I'll get them to lie down, might place a few crystals around their heart chakra if I'm guided to, just to help them to relax. And I get them to focus on their heart chakra. So a lot of people aren't connected with themselves and they're very afraid to find out who the real self is. So even just getting them to connect with their heart chakra is the first step in teaching somebody not to be afraid, to just quiet down and to connect in. And even subliminally, it's teaching them to open up a little bit more, and to get them to keep coming to focus back onto the little meditation that I give them. I then connect in with their soul. So I just take myself off to the universe and connect in with the universal heart and mind and the soul, and then I ask to connect with that person's soul. I get shown the soul in many different forms. I walk through a place that's really bright light. Sometimes the soul might be wandering off in all different directions, which immediately tells me this person's very scattered right through the very core of their being. I might get shown the jigsaw puzzle, which is a way of letting me know how much fragmentation's going on inside that person. Because if someone's suffered a lot of trauma in their life, it goes right through the soul. The soul mirrors everything that occurs to us in life.
Oh, really?
Past lives, current lives, through childhood, all the genetics, it mirrors everything. So if the trauma's been very deep, then the soul's very adversely affected, and that's when a person can be very, very ill, mentally, physically and emotionally. And so I'll get shown the jigsaw puzzle, and if it's very scattered, that gives me an indication of how much work has got to be done. I might get shown it as a Rubik's Cube, and I just know there's little bits of it need manipulating, or there's certain facets of a person that need working on.
It's like putting them back into place.
Yes, yeah, basically, yeah. But it just gives me a lead in so I can start explaining to a person where they're at and why. And the important thing is for them to understand why they feel the way they do. And once they understand the why, it's a load off their mind. They can actually start to not see themselves as maybe being punished, or it's their fault, or they're to blame, or they're worthless. They understand the reason. So that immediately alleviates a lot of stress and pain in a person. And then I might get shown the soul as a really beautiful bright light. So I know basically at the very core of their being, they're strong. There's just some human stuff that's getting in the way, because we've got this beautiful soul self, which is all our higher mind, our spirit essence and the universal mind. Then we've got the human self, where the soul plays its part out through into our human life. And that's the subject of, again, of another little video.
But you're talking about baggage. You're talking about their baggage.
Yes. So the soul gives me a complete picture. So when I connect in with the soul, I might see it like that. Or the soul might take me back to a point in time in their childhood, and I see them as a 3-year-old or the 4-year-old, and mummy and daddy might be fighting, dad might be beating up on mum, they might both be drug addicts, or the child might be getting hiding under the stairs or in a dark place. So that shows me the extent of the trauma that person's felt, and how deep rooted that trauma is.
Right.
And so I've explained to them, I'm being shown you as a 3-year-old, and do you remember that far back? Sometimes people say yes, sometimes they say no, because they don't really want to remember. So
yes,
I don't get them to relive anything.
I understand.
I just say that at that time in your life, you were very frightened, maybe not feeling very loved or nurtured, and felt very, very unsafe. And then they start to remember little things about what mum and dad were doing. It just helps them to feel safe in talking about it too. So it's all done very naturally and safely and in a very nurturing way. It's not done to frighten them.
No.
So I don't say anything that I'm not meant to say. I totally get guided.
It's almost a bit of psychology here, because they're talking
well,
about...
it's soul psychology.
Soul psychology, yes.
And I don't put my conscious mind in there at all. That's totally out of the picture. So I just get shown what to say. And their soul tells me what to do, literally tells me.
Wow.
So whatever gets done, I totally trust that whatever I say is for their best and highest good. And they're meant to hear it, because the words themselves are healing.
Yes.
as well as the work that I do.
Yes.
And of course it's not me doing it, but the Creator's working through me. But so I talked to them about maybe at that point in time this created this in you, and they said, oh yeah, I remember that, because when I got to school I couldn't do this or I couldn't do that. I said, well, it all began at that age, and then it all starts to make sense to them.
Right.
And so then I work with that part of them and say, look, I'm going to do some soul repair work here. So I start fitting the soul back together again. And if whatever belief patterns are getting in the way of fixing that back together again, we change those. And that's where the Theta healing comes in. We change those belief patterns. And that might be that I'm not nurtured, I feel unloved, or I'm worthless, or it's all my fault. Or it might be really, really different types of words to that, a whole set of belief patterns, and there might be 20 of them that just flow straight up, you know, that I explain to them, this is what I'm being shown. They say, yeah, I've always believed that about myself. Now I understand where that belief pattern comes from. Now I understand why I do the things that I do.
Almost acknowledging.
Now I understand why I don't have relationships. Now I understand why I can't keep down a job. So as soon as they get that understanding, oh, thank God for that. Someone understands me at long last.
And then from understanding comes change.
Yes. So the whole healing is a mentoring process as well, and giving them tools and techniques into how, you know, I clear out the baggage, the dustbin, but it's then helping them go forward in their life. So what do I do going forward? Well, if you practice this and do this and teach people how to think differently, they're always focused on themselves. So that helps the process of healing take off much more quickly, much more strongly.
Yes.
And it's about not just about me band-aiding, it's getting to the root cause and fixing the cause, no matter how far back it goes. Ancestral DNA, genetic DNA, it doesn't matter.
All right. There's a question there. Clients that come and see you, what is the general trend? Do they come for once, twice, or what is the norm that happens when people come in for a healing? Is once enough, or do you find that they come on a repeat?
Sometimes once, but the average is about 6 sessions, and that person might be at the edge of total depression, nervous breakdown. 6, sometimes maybe 8 for a person of that, but on the average it's about 6. It depends, because some people just want to be fixed, but they don't want to go further with it, as in they don't want to then develop their spiritual awareness. But most do. By the time they get to that stage, they say, well, just teach me more, because you've cleared all this stuff, my life is totally changed. How do I now embrace this so that from now on I create my own world? Yeah. And so it's teaching them how to do that as well. But you're teaching them how to do it as soon as they walk through the door, in the words that you choose, the way you go about the healing, and the little bits of homework they get in between sessions, which you never did, by the way.
I'm very naughty.
But yes.
I'm not very good at being told what to do.
But everyone gets little bits of homework. Yeah. It's all geared to slowly teach them to feel safe about being them and to trust themselves.
Yes.
And to view everything from a centre of self and not be influenced by what's going on externally to them. So teaching people to look at things 180 degrees. And focus all of their intention on themselves.
And what I always, from a personal point of view, is that I always felt very safe. You walk in, you're relaxed, and I always felt it come out feeling very nurtured, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. It's like putting, the way I saw it the other day, and I asked for it to be shown to sort of sum it up, it's like having this beautiful ball of light that's the gift of life in your hands, and it's the most exquisite thing that you could even think of, and you're putting it back inside a person saying, here's your gift, this is you can have you back again. Right. So it's just, and it's teaching people that the core of who they are is the most beautiful, magnificent thing that they could even imagine. And when people get to touch that and feel it, they really do love themselves, and it's beyond self-love, even more. But it's like coming up and putting this beautiful gift.
It's almost magical.
Oh, it's totally magic, absolute magic.
Yeah.
It's also teaching people to be in their own magic and delight in being themselves as that wondrous, imaginative child. But you know, it's when you've got them to a certain place.
Yeah.
But it's giving them the gift of themselves. Together again.
We could talk about the soul, but that's another 5 minutes, where it comes from and how it goes. We might do that another time.
Yep.
All right. So anything else you want to add to that? Do you think?
6 days. Anything at the moment.
I think you gave us everyone a good indication. So below here is Sandy's website and contact details. If you'd like to know more, she's very good to talk to. So ring her up and ask her a question, and if you feel inclined, come and see her.
Mm.
Okay.